Art teacher Dana Davis here, back with another video. Today we're going to talk about drawing teeth, and I'm going to discuss 3 steps that you can take to make sure your teeth are the best that they can be on your drawing. So let's get started. There are many important steps to drawing an entire mouth, but I need to keep a strict focus on the teeth. I could show 100 steps to drawing the whole mouth, but we got to boil it down to the main 3 steps that you absolutely can't go without. If you would like a video showing a slower, more detailed step-by-step, then just let me know in the comments below. If not, I promise 3 steps. I'm going to do 3 steps. It is important to keep the pressure off the tip of the pencil, especially in these early stages. If you were looking at this more than a few feet away, these lines that I'm putting on the paper wouldn't even register. That's the kind of light pressure that you need to use early on in these steps. We're now ready for step 1. I nicknamed this step the mouth guard step because when you get it blocked in, the space where all the teeth are, if they're all not separated, it looks just like someone's wearing a mouth guard. Getting this large area mapped out will inevitably make the next steps go much more smoothly. So I encourage any beginner to work in really generic terms like broad shapes and general size and structure. Then we can start making it more specific. So you can see that towards the back of the mouth, the structure tapers. That's because the teeth in the back of the mouth are getting shorter and the front teeth are a little bit longer. It's like we're connecting the dots at the bottom of each tooth in order to get that structure. Now that I've created what is basically a perimeter for where the teeth are gonna go, I'm ready for my second step. And we're going to count the teeth. We're going to divide them up and make sure that we know how many teeth are in this mouth. I also would encourage you to number each and every tooth that is showing. It will help a lot when you're in the midst of working and it's tempting to get lost or not really know if it's 2 teeth you're working on and all of a sudden it becomes 1 and then you're 1 tooth too short. Those are the type of frustrations that make it hard to move past these stages, especially for beginners. It's already kind of a frustrating task trying to get teeth drawn, so we need to make sure we know how many there are. You may have already noticed that I'm using my blending stick to draw all of this, and I don't think about it as much, but I've had people tell me, like, why are you drawing with that? Isn't that a blending stick? Isn't that a blender? They'll call it a blender. Yeah, it is. It is a blending stick, but it has so much graphite on it that it draws pretty well, and it keeps me from giving into the temptation to draw really dark and to put too much pressure on an area that does not need pressure at all. After you count each tooth and make a space for each one, blocking it off into giant big square teeth, then you may realize, like I'm doing right now, that the space that you allowed for them was maybe a little too much. And I had space for 9 teeth, but I only had 8. So I'm gonna shrink this mouth down and fix it. Now we have specific places for each tooth, but we do not yet have a specific tooth shape. So now we're ready for step 3. I'm currently working on a nickname for this step. So if you want to leave a comment below, I think it looks like stalagmites, stalactites. I've heard icicles, you know, from the top and the gum line, but you tell me in the comments below what you think this step should be nicknamed, because I'm struggling with that one, but we'll get it figured out. Either way, without these subtle changes, each one of the teeth would look uncharacteristically uniform, and since each tooth is different, even if it's ever so slightly, we as truthful artists must be sensitive as we observe so that we get all of those little details. As I draw these gum lines, there's like a little arrow that points down. The peak of that arrow is always going to be hinged on the line that I drew initially to divide the teeth. When you line them up, the gum line and the negative space, it automatically makes it look more realistic. But that really light line tells me an awful lot, and it's very important. If we don't make these peaks aligned, I'll actually just show you what that looks like if you get them misaligned. So we want the gum line to point to the negative space. See the red part? They point to each other. If you miss this and they don't line up, oh no, look, this is what it'll look like. So if you get that problem, that's the solution. That's where you went wrong. The reason I know that is because I've seen it done a lot. And students usually don't really know where they go wrong when they do that. They don't know why their teeth look like a worm. but it does. And it does happen. It's such an easy mistake to do. That's why I'm telling you about it now. That is why it's good to have a teacher nearby to say, that's a normal mistake. It's fine. You're not the first person who has fallen into that trap. And you won't be the last, but there's a way out, and it's very easy. Let me show you how. I purposefully used a blending stick for the gum line, and now I'm using a 6B for the negative space inside the mouth. I have no intention of keeping the inside of the mouth light. I'm going to like a mid-tone, but it's going to get a lot darker there. Whereas the gum line, I need it to stay really, really pale and not attract a lot of attention. The darkest tooth is this one in the back, and it stays kind of in the shadow the whole time. But there's a reason that the teeth don't look very white in these early stages. That's because everything on the paper is white, so there's nothing to give it contrast. polishing up the teeth for a little bit. We have already blocked in the teeth shape in general by using that mouth guard step. Then we divided up that mouth guard into individual teeth, and we numbered them and labeled them and made sure they corresponded with our reference. Then we took that big blocky shaped tooth and we carved it down and made it into a specific tooth with a length, a width, and characteristics all its own. Then we added a little bit of value and polish for fun. And I hope that helps you next time that you sit down to drawing the teeth. You don't feel nearly so overwhelmed with all those teeth, that you can actually divide up that work and do a great job of recording it accurately and quickly so that you can enjoy the process and enjoy the product.